chickens!
Oh, I have 3 kids and no money. Why can't I have no kids and 3 money? Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. I'm Max.
I'm Chris.
I'm Darcy.
This is the podcast. We've never done like introductions before. We never like said what our names are, but we have names. That's what they are.
Yeah.
How we been this week, guys?
Not too bad. Had
Yeah.
my second jab. It
How was
actually, it kind of killed me, which I wasn't expecting. I say it kind of killed me. I just got a couple of days, or the day after, I think I felt quite ill.
Bad.
I was like, had a really, really bad temperature for like 2 or 3 days. My arm hurt. I felt quite ill. But only on the first day I felt ill. The second day I just had a bad temperature. Third day I was still have a bit of a temperature, but it was lower. And now I'm fine. My arm doesn't hurt anymore. All is good.
He's alive.
All is right with the world. Not for me though. It's been a pretty crappy like few days for me because like first of all, the we like advertise through Facebook when I can get the money together. I mean, we're not making money off the podcast right now, but I figured it's pretty good to get it out there. So I do try to promote it through Facebook. This week, last week, with the Suicide Squad and Star Wars episode, Facebook did not like that. It wouldn't let me advertise it, which was very upsetting.
I expect nothing
very
less
sad.
from Zuckerberg censorship.
It's right. It's Marky Mark doing it to us.
Yeah, maybe they just have like a flag on war at the moment because obviously everything going on in Afghanistan.
I think they just flag up certain words and then they just block them right away.
I think so.
I try to censor the word suicide, even though it's like that's the name of the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't really help that, can you?
Yeah, oh well. Can't be helped. Another thing that can't be helped is I was at the gym the other day, and I came out of the gym, and when I usually ride my bike to the gym and to work, that's like my main transport. I get out of the gym and I see it locked up, but like the front wheel is missing.
I expect nothing less from the Portsmouth folk
Yeah,
giving it away now. Everyone knows where we live.
yeah. Lesson learned, eh? It was my own fault, really. I should have just like got the bus or something. I guess just can't trust people around here.
No.
No.
Especially where you put your bike, apparently.
Yeah, because Connor came in and said that his brothers like had 2 or 3 bikes stolen from that exact same location.
Yeah. Should have known. It's a pretty shifty area.
Yeah, bit rough.
Yeah, I don't think there's even any CCTV cameras in that area, so it's probably easy to get away with stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It's
And it
like
was
right
a
next to an
Sunday.
alley, was it?
I think so. Didn't you say it was a Sunday? I could be
I don't
wrong.
know.
I'm
Oh,
pretty
might
sure it
be.
was a
Well,
Sunday.
yeah, it was. It was, and it was a Sunday of all days, on the Lord's Day.
And the Lord said, let Max have no bike.
Yeah. Bike wheels are expensive, wouldn't you know? So
Have you still got the frame? Like, have you still got the
What do
rest
you
of the bike?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Only
No, I thought so.
only
No, I
the wheel
did-
needs replacing.
Okay.
I'm gonna chuck the whole bike out.
No, just because some scumbag thought that your bike would be, I don't know,
Yeah.
worth.
You're not going to
Take it
be
apart.
like your nan throwing away her clocks because she can't figure out how to use them.
She threw out her clocks.
That's a whole other story.
Keeps buying new ones because she can't work out how to use it.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to use alarm clocks. You're trying to tell her how to use her phone. She can't hack it. It's like I gotta set it again the next day. This is insane. I'm like, well, yeah.
Oh, so she actually she fixed their single-use clocks. You just sort of
No,
You set 'em once and that's
she's
it.
like, that's it. She brought a new one the other day, and by the end of the day, it was in the bin.
she's one.
That's just old people and technology, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
I bet they're not even what kind of clock is it though? Is it one of
Just a standard
a
alarm.
digital
No,
just like a proper
got
analog
hands.
clock? Oh my god,
oh dear.
shameful.
Yeah, can't catch a break, eh? Well, we watched some movies. We got together as we're talking yesterday. We had the whole day to watch the Lilo and Stitch movies, and there are 4 of those for some reason.
Yeah, our first quadrilogy on the show.
Hey, and I hope it's the last.
To sweeten the pot, also we watched Chaos Walking, this new movie directed by Doug Liman. It came out this year. Nobody saw it because it's in the middle of the pandemic. They didn't want to release it in cinemas. They just put it on like streaming, and you had to pay like £20 to watch it, so nobody watched it. And I really, really wanted to see this movie. This was like one of my most highly anticipated movies, perhaps my most highly anticipated movie of 2020 or 2021, because I love the books so much. I read them when I was younger. The Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness, and I wrote like a whole essay like 3 years ago detailing why I thought this movie was going to fail and where it could potentially fail. And I'm reading it back now and I'm like, I've definitely improved as a writer, I can tell you that. But also, I was more or less kind of right. But before we get too deep into that, what's the movie about? Well, I know what it's about. Well, I kind of want one of you guys to tell us what the movie's about. What's it about, guys?
Well, is it about this? Well, obviously humans have gone onto some new planet to start up a new colony or something. Like a new world. They're called New World, aren't they? Or,
that's what they call it, isn't it?
Yep, it's the New World.
And all the men can think literally out loud, and it's really, really
it's not even that they
but
can
annoying.
think out loud.
They do think out loud. Oh yeah, no, yeah. But I mean,
they have the noise where their thoughts basically just appear out of their head sometimes, even though it should be all the time
in funky colours. Yeah, but that's a point for another point of this conversation, I suppose. I mean,
yeah. So just to speed it up. So like, yeah, they're on this new world, this new planet, and there are only men there. And the main character, Todd Hewitt, is like, I'm Todd Hewitt, and all I know is man. So when he sees for the first time in his life a girl, things get shaken up a bit. Everybody wants to see this girl, and they want to like capture her. So Todd and the girl Viola, played by Tom Holland and Disney Riley.
Disney Riley,
Ridley.
I like that.
Brave Skywalker
Daisy
herself.
Yeah.
Disney Riley.
They got to go on the run from the mayor and his and the town who's coming after them. And it sucks.
So, Max, may I ask, as someone who's like read all these books and things?
Yeah.
Did you? Obviously, it was rushed because you got 3 whole books to flesh through. But was there anything in there that like, I don't know, was completely off? Like, just flew straight past?
Like, what do you mean? Like stuff they didn't include?
Well, it's more, but it's more the case of, did they miss any like really important plot points that they just sort of went, oh, we don't need to include that?
Yeah, they did. They missed a bunch. So, like, the big one for me, and it was something that I was kind of apprehensive about when I first heard about it, was the casting of Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. These are people in their 20s. I was very trepidatious about seeing them cast as these characters who, in the books, should have been 13, 14 years old. I was like, these guys do not look like they're that age. And, like, you can take certain creative liberties. I actually don't mind some of the liberties they take with the movie, but this was quite a core point to the movie because it's about Todd becoming a man, and he's being excluded. He's the youngest guy in this town, which I don't think you really get from this movie. And he's like, when I'm a man, I'll be able to be in with the other people. This is why I'm getting left out, because they don't see me as a man, but when I turn 13, I'll be a man. in the eyes of all these people. They leave that out completely, and it's supposed to be this really, like, basically a coming of age story, I guess. And the fact that they are so young is integral to the plot, I feel. But they leave that out completely, and it's just, this is 3 books worth of a movie. It's 3 entire books, and they condense it into not even a long movie. Not even a long movie. It's like hour and 40, hour and 50. And, you know, I could complain about like movies being too slow, but this movie was so fast that I almost didn't understand what the fuck was going on. I don't know if you guys felt that at all.
Yeah, kind of. For me, it wasn't even that I didn't understand what was going on. I just didn't really care. I was just bored. Like, it was weird for a film this fast paced to still be like super boring. Like, I just didn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, you had it written all over your face, to be honest.
Yeah.
Chris was groaning.
I'm not sure if that has to do with the actual story, because I haven't read the book, so the actual like books could be like far better. I feel like some of it is probably down to the execution, but there was so much in the film where I was just like, yeah, I think this is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, if what we're going by is correct, then there's no way that you could make a film from 3 books in an hour, not even 2 hours.
And even like, there's things in the film that it's obvious they took from the book where even just watching how they executed it, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't think this really works as a film. Like, don't think this really can work on screen. Like, the whole idea of the noise, this thing where your thoughts like are coming out of your head. And obviously, Max, you were saying that in the books, it's like overpowering, like people walk past and all you can hear and see is like this noise. Whereas in this film, they seem to pick and choose when the noise come out, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
and like, I feel like that's something that you can't really do properly without the film being like super obnoxious and loud and unbearable, which like just makes me think, what's kind of the point?
Yeah, like shouldn't the theory be, if that's how it's described in the books, if you really wanted to make the film and commit to it, make it as horrible sounding as you can, because why put music in it? Just make everything noisy. There's just nothing but noise.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, make it as horrible sounding as possible. I think just that was a big problem I had with the movie, was that they pick and choose when people think, but it's supposed to be just this constant stream of like, and maybe it gets louder when like people are thinking different things, or maybe it gets quieter when they're like a bit calmer, or if they're in a different part of the world. But it's never quiet, and in the books it definitely has this emphasis on it being never quiet. There is never a moment where there's not some form of noise. Even like the animals have noise, they have thoughts coming out of them, and you're not supposed to be able to see it. It's just like this auditory thing that's just constantly present. And one thing I didn't really mind about the movie was like the liberties it took with showing the noise. Like, it's got like this kind of like weird cloudy bubble, purpley blue shit around their heads. I didn't really mind that so much, but it's what they do with it that irks me, because, you know, and the thoughts that come out of these people's heads, not only is it poorly written from like a technical standpoint, it's they just go, and now he's not thinking, so we can have a quieter moment. But it's like, that's not how thoughts work. And these thoughts that they have are so linear. It's like I'm going to do this. Oh no, oh no, I can't do that. Oh look, who's there? This, and it's not like, thoughts are very, like, when you think, it's not like this linear structure, and there are like multiple things going on at once, and that's something the books get down very. And I hate to compare the two, because they're not the same thing really, and I never thought that this was really going to work, and I even felt like it wasn't going to work at all, and yet I'm still disappointed in it, you know? And I felt like throughout it, you know, Chris was huffing and puffing. He was really not having a good time.
He was not.
I kind of took my enjoyment where I could find it, but I still was quite bored with it, and I felt like if I I just felt like I was watching it from a completely different perspective than you guys, and I still am able to be kind of objective in a sense where I can say, yeah, this is pretty bad. They didn't do this very well. Sometimes I think, yeah, actually that was pretty well done. Like there's I'm sorry to keep going on. I want you guys to talk about it a bit. But there's like a whole thing in these books where like there's this native race that the humans have come to the New World and basically wiped out, and they're called the Spackle. And we see one of them in this whole movie, and then Todd tries to kill it, and then he's like, nah, never mind. And then it runs away, and then we never hear from that again.
Yeah, I felt like so much of what happens in the film was just inconsequential to the plot. Like the whole idea of the noise, I feel like that doesn't really add anything to the plot. Like you could have taken it out and like nothing really would have been different. There's like the Spackle, if you took that out, like nothing would be different. There's loads and loads of characters who are just kind of there, and if you took them out, I don't think anything would have changed. It's just everything feels pointless.
I think this might be, so obviously because me and Chris haven't read the books, there might be some sort of like understanding that me and Chris don't technically have, because obviously there's, you know, a rhyme and reason to everything that goes on in that book, and, you know, the place and the little native people and, you know, whatever the fuck's going on. But I just don't understand why, like, hardly any of it was explained. Like, for people like me and Chris who haven't read the books, I feel like nothing was established for us. If you've already read the books, you're disappointed, but if you haven't read the books, you just don't know what's going on, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They go straight in with it.
Yeah.
They don't explain anything whatsoever.
No.
It's just like you can hear people's thoughts, and
it's like,
you got to get on board with it immediately. Yeah. They don't try to explain anything about why things are this way.
Yeah, do they explain that in the books? Like why they have this?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. Like, why don't they just?
I honestly don't think that's always necessary in a film if they execute everything else well. Like if they suck you into the universe well and keep the story going without explaining things, as long as it's executed well, I'd never normally have a problem with that. But it's when they don't really do anything well and they leave all this mystery and confusion in the film, that's where I have a big problem with it.
Yeah, this is kind of what I mean is, obviously this has happened in films before, and I do kind of like things being explained to me because I am a bit of a dummy dum-dum. But in this film in particular, nothing was explained. And I don't know whether Chris felt that as well.
You know, movies need to have exposition. Like,
I need to understand something.
They need to have exposition. Otherwise, like, what are you doing? It's just basically like we're showing some shit, and it's like we don't even have a plot. I feel like this was quite plotless. It just kind of led. It was like Doug Liman was like holding Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland's hand, just like running them through this straight line where they had to get to the end. And then when it got to the end, I was like, wait a minute. We're at the end of the third book. What the
Yeah,
Wait, what?
It was like you turned around and you just went, right, we're right at the end now. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was like, we're right at the end. And then you checked how long was left, and there was only like 8 minutes left or something. You were like, how have they done this? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because didn't they do the entirety of the second and third books in like half an hour?
Yeah, because the first
pretty much
hour went on for like the whole first book. So, well, as Max pointed out, obviously I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first book, I haven't read these books in quite a while, like a few years now, but I'm pretty sure the first book ends, or at least the second book begins, with them finding other people outside of this one town, and they're on the run for a very long time. But in this movie, it's like 2 scenes where they like go to the forest, and then like Tom Holland's like, oh, I wish I could kiss Daisy Ridley, and then she sees that in his noise, and she's like, ew, go away, go sleep on the ground. And then that's it. And then they go and they see some other people, and they're like, oh my god, there are other people out here. We're not the only ones alive in my small town. And then there are women too. Oh, okay. That was supposed to be this huge reveal, but I felt nothing from it. Well, absolutely nothing.
And isn't like the second book the only one that's credited in the in the credits? Or did I just not like look close enough? I swear only the second book was mentioned.
Yeah, only one. It was like based on this book.
Yeah, it was the second book.
I think it was the first one.
I thought it was the second one.
Letting Go.
Yeah, is that the second book or is that the first one?
That's the first one.
Oh, okay. No, that makes more sense then because most of that book was done in that sense.
Within like the first half hour. And that's why I was so confused. And then we get to the end and we have like Mads Mikkelsen as this May Apprentice character who's supposed to be this huge imposing figure who has his head switched on. He can control his noise. It's very hard to understand what he's thinking because he's learned to use the noise for his own benefit, whereas other people are sort of a bit more scattered with their thoughts and they can't really order it very well. He's just this super creepy and like intimidating dude in the books, and like he's always after them. He's always like catching up with them, and he only dies in like the last book. And when he died in this, I was like, oh, it's been an hour. Are you really? And then I switched, and then I looked and I was like, oh, there's 10 minutes left.
Yeah, it was really anticlimactic, that death, to be honest.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
It happened in a flash as well.
It wasn't quite as bad as that guy Daisy Ridley sets on fire who just casually walks away. You never see him again. Yeah.
I must have missed that. I don't know what.
That's hilarious.
I don't know what you mean.
She just like sets them on fire and he doesn't like react or anything, just slowly walks away and you like she just sits there like, okay, it's over now, and you never hear or see him again.
And the man's on fire. Jesus.
What the fuck was up with that guy?
Yeah. What was the purpose of him even coming in?
Nothing. Like,
but that's what I mean. There's like nothing in this film had a purpose.
No, but he's like just on his own. He's wandering through the forest, and like one of the first scenes he's in that, he just goes up to Todd and like smacks the shit out of him, and then we like don't see him for a while, and then he's just like, I'm gonna follow these guys away from the town who are following them. Like the town have their own group and they're following them on the horseback, with some have rifles and some have like, I don't know, halo guns, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna catch you, Todd. And they go over like these like rapids, and I have no idea what his problem was. I don't understand what the hell he was doing. And then he's like, there's this one part where like they're going over the rapids, and then Todd has a dog, and then the dog dies, and then I like blink and I'm like, wait, what happened? And then Todd's like sobbing. He's like, oh, he's dead, but he's thinking it. I'm like, wait, what? When did the dog die?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was weird. I didn't even see the dog die. I just remember him going,
no, me neither.
He's dead, and I was like, what?
But I didn't even care. Because we hadn't even we really hadn't been introduced to the dog at all. And the dog's quite a character in the books.
Excuse me, that dog is adorable.
Yeah, you said I know what you mean. The Sharpay movie, but I mean,
okay.
You got to like introduce these things.
I don't think any character was really introduced or developed at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't care about any characters. Like Daisy Ridley's character was just literally like a plank of wood. Like Tom Holland's character, I guess, kind of had a bit of personality, but I think that was only just because I think Tom Holland is a kind of charismatic person. But even then, I don't think he's great in this movie.
Yeah, but I'm telling you now, like I was saying,
really great in this movie,
right at the end of the film, that obviously before we found out it was the end of the film, I was like, these two people could die right now, and I wouldn't give a shit.
No,
I just didn't. I didn't feel anything for them. Like, was I supposed to care about them? I suppose I was.
I do think Mads Mikkelsen's all right in the movie.
Oh, he's great in everything though.
He's a fantastic actor.
He is a great actor.
Much, but
he's great in everything. I don't think this is one of his better roles.
No,
but I do think he still is like the only person really trying and seeming to have some fun with the character.
Yeah, if this movie were done right, I still would have picked him. He's so good. He's such a fantastic actor.
He's cool.
He fits the villain role really, really well. It was like one of my favourite things about Rogue One.
I swear he's always a villain in like almost everything he's in. I could be wrong.
Because he's so good at it.
Yeah. Unless it's directed by Thomas Vinterberg, then he's like a good sad character.
But you like hate that he's been put through shit.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset with this movie. It was like even more disappointed than I thought I was going to be. And like, it's supposed to be like this grand, epic sci-fi thing. I almost would have wanted it to be, if not a trilogy of movies, then like a mini-series with like 3 parts. Because the world is so expansive and it's very interesting. Like Patrick Ness wrote even like 3 more short stories to accompany these books. And, you know, when you're reading the books, it goes into like every little detail. And yeah, I'm actually like listening to the audiobook of the first book now, and they're like just on the run, but it's like it happens pretty fast. But like you understand why it's happening, you understand who Todd is as a person, and who like the people that he surrounds himself with are. He's got like 2 guys that he lives with who like basically adopted him, and then like in the movie, like one of them gets shot, and you're like, who was that guy? And like, who are these people and who are they to him? And then he's like, that was my son. And then you learn later that it wasn't his son, but it's just like, that's what he meant to him. And then there's like this horrible fucking exposition scene where they go to this village, and then Todd's like, oh yeah, I got my mama's diary was given to me, but I can't read. I'm not a good reader because they burned all the books, so I can't read. And then Daisy Ridley's like, here, I'll read to you. And then it takes like a minute, and then suddenly it's supposed to be this huge plot twist where like he finds out that his town and everybody he knew lied to him. But there was supposed to be like this great kind of spackle war with the native tribes people, and like they brought the noise to them, was basically the concept. And then this is turned on its head when they find out that actually, no, it was like the men who killed the spackle and made them extinct, and like the women died, I think. I don't know how. But they don't even know how, really.
I don't really know what to say about this movie anymore.
I'm over this.
It was incredibly frustrating for me. Oh, you like that part where he's like, oh, you've never seen rain before? When like Viola, played by Daisy Ridley, she's like so fascinated by rain. You're like, yeah, she like just told you that she was born on the ship, that she was in space. Like we just saw her come from a ship from space, and now you're asking if she's never seen rain before. There's no rain in space, Todd.
You're telling me you've never eaten fish before?
Yeah. Oh,
the writing in this film is so bad. Like all the dialogue
appalling.
Is terrible.
Oh, my favourite is, I'm Todd Hewitt. I'm Todd Hewitt. I'm Todd Hewitt. I'm Todd Hewitt.
Yeah. That's like supposed to be something in the books that like grounds him, and it's supposed to like stop other thoughts coming up and like people seeing it, but it's handled so poorly in this movie, and they don't explain why he's doing it. You're supposed to know. He's just repeating his name over and over again. It's so like janky.
I'm convinced that this film was actually just for people who have read the books and would understand and be disappointed in it. This film is for no one. Bit harsh, but true, I would say.
Yeah.
They had to like delay it. It was like in production nightmare. So like, what? I don't know, I guess just along the way. Like, first of all, why Doug Liman? Like, I don't mind him as a director, really, but like really? I would rather have had like literally anyone else.
I literally don't know who he is.
Honestly.
He did The Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
He did Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, that Tom Cruise film that's like Groundhog Day, but an action movie.
Oh dear God.
That was all
no.
Right,
It's an instant no from me. It's a bit of a weird direction for him to go in, isn't it? For him to do these weird like action films. I mean,
I don't know. But this is.
Oh yeah, he also did Jumper, that Hayden Christian movie.
Oh hell yeah!
Film's hilarious.
I just don't think this story fits his style. Really.
That's what I think. That's what I meant to mean. Like when I was saying that last sentence, but it just nothing ever comes out in the way that I want it to.
That's a fitting summary of this movie. It just didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, exactly. We're all thinking it.
Like the box office takings were like so horrendous.
They were so bad.
It was like $100 million, and it only took in like 21 million.
think wasn't it 29? Still not good, but
yeah. To be fair, I think pretty much every film is tanking at the moment. I don't think even if they released it like now, it would have done well at all.
If they had released it as a mini-series on Netflix, it would have been fine.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They probably should have. They shouldn't have.
Well, I mean, if it was the same quality,
like
then probably not. But
they should have just split it up and just took their time with it.
But they didn't care.
No,
I know, but
that's the
but
main
why,
thing.
Because if you did really want to make a series out of it, because come on, that's a cash cow that you can milk. There's 3 books, you can do that. But like,
yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why.
Yeah, then
they
why
decided
do it?
to
Yeah,
smush all these books into one movie. Like, isn't like the trend these days to actually have like a franchise?
Yeah, exactly.
And Lionsgate bloody need one right now. They have like basically nothing.
Yeah.
And this is why they have basically nothing, because they keep letting this happen.
Yeah, I think like the young adult like sci-fi sort of thing is kind of dying now. Anyway, like we long past like the Hunger Games and the Maze Runner and all those series.
I've never been into any of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine this would have done well regardless of when it came out.
Yeah,
maybe if it came out. Yeah, if it came out in that that time of like the Hunger Games, maybe so.
Then if it came out when it first went into development, then it would have probably done really well. But because it's taken so long to come out and it's completely missed any sort of like hype train that it could have jumped on, I don't think it really stood much of a chance.
Saying that, it probably wouldn't have done that well anyway, because people who already read the books and would have done the same thing that Max had done and been like, what on earth is this?
I don't know. I think people would have wanted to see it because of Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah. And
Well,
Mads Mikkelsen and Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
Good point. Do you know what? That actually just brings me back to the point that Max was talking about earlier. There is literally, how old is Tom Holland and how old is Nick Jonas meant to be? Because if they were meant to be different ages, I'm not really seeing it, to be fair.
In this movie, it doesn't matter. In the books, they're 12 and maybe 14.
Yeah, whereas Nick Jonas is like in his 30s and Tom Holland's like 25.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Just funny.
Just fucked from the word go, I feel.
Can we rate this movie out of Todd Hewitt? I nearly said Tom Hewitt now. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Todd Hewitt, sure.
Wahoo.
Can't even remember what I gave it.
I do. I vaguely just remember. I remember the first 2 films. And
there we go. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this. I was like kind of excited to watch it only because like obviously Your Movie Sucks and the Sardonicast podcast both reviewed it and they made it seem really funny, like the way they were talking about it and saying it was a mess. So I was like, oh, it's going to be like a so bad it's good movie, but it just wasn't. It was just boring and dull, and like I feel like there's actual potential in the story, and I would be interested to read the books at some point because although I don't think a lot of it was super great, I do feel like there's something there. But yeah, not a fan of this movie. Gonna give it 3 Todd Hewitts out of 10.
Yeah, most of what I feel works about this movie works better in the books, and I don't mind some of what they do in the movie really, but it's very slim pickings, I think. And the more I think about it, the more I do kind of hate it. I mean, it honestly offended me. It genuinely offended me. And I don't often get offended by movies, but this was a series that was like very dear to my heart, I think. And now I have gone back and I'm listening to the audiobook of the first book now. I would recommend the books, but I feel like if you watch this movie, you probably wouldn't bother. But
yeah,
I mean, those books are decent. They're good books. And Patrick Ness is a good writer. He was credited as a writer on this. It didn't show at all. I'm pretty sure Charlie Kaufman was brought in at like the very, very early stages. I mean,
yeah, he wrote a draft and they didn't use any of it, and he was fired from the project.
Who was it?
Sounds about right.
Charlie Kaufman.
Oh, poor guy.
So, yeah, just remake it again and do it better, guys. I don't even want it to be remade. I don't want anything from this. I just wanted the books. didn't want this to be made into a movie at all. I feel like the books are so their own thing. It's this like whole like corporate thing of we have to make books into movies to make money. I don't like it. And I don't like this movie. So I'm going to give it a 3 Todd Hewitts out of 10.
I mean, it did actually it did kind of suck, but I kind of thought that going into it because obviously me and Chris had seen the Your Movies Sucks special on it. And we were like, okay, this could be like... Well, we actually thought it could be really funny, but it wasn't funny, really, but... Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse films, but obviously I can't be offended by it because I haven't read the books. I'm not particularly emotionally drawn to any of it. It was just kind of like a film that was just kind of like there. So I'll give it a 4 Tom Huberts out of 10.
Nailed it.
I had to think of a name halfway through, so...
All right, that's that. Now we're going to get on to some epic movies that we watched. Some Disney movies. The first one is called Lilo and Stitch, and then the other 3 are also movies.
From that world.
Can you
Take
even
it
call
away,
them
Chris.
movies? Not even like an hour and a half. They're like an hour long.
They're short films.
Yeah. So we started off with the Disney animated classic Lilo and Stitch from 2002, directed by Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois, also known as the guys who did the How to Train Your Dragon movies. The film's all about an alien he's a genetic experiment called Stitch, who is... after being imprisoned, he escapes and runs away. He crash lands on Hawaii, on planet Earth in Hawaii, and he is on the run basically. And there's 2 aliens coming after him, and to hide from them, he pretends to be a puppy and is adopted by a young girl called Lilo, who is kind of like she's like a weird kid who doesn't really have any friends, and she's lonely. And they become friends, and as he is like this evil monster who constantly wrecks things, she kind of teaches him all about loyalty, friendship, and love. And slowly as the film goes on, he gets better and better. Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah. What do we all think?
Love.
This movie's maybe my favourite Disney movie. I love it. Honestly, it's fantastic. Cry so much. It's so emotional. We're all like sat there crying. It's like these more emotional beats come in.
Darcy
speak for the pair of yourselves, mate.
Darcy wasn't crying. She had no reaction. She was like, whatever.
Do you know? No, I thought it was really cute. Well, I just kept saying "aww" all the time. I actually thought it was like a really cute like film. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, so I didn't really like go into it thinking, oh, this is going to be like that great Lilo and Stitch film. But oh my god, it was the great Lilo and Stitch.
So did
film.
we all watch this when we were younger?
Yeah, I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I did.
I watched it once, I think, ever.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to see it in the cinema, but my cousin who I was going with was terrified of Stitch, so we didn't go. We watched Looney Tunes back in action instead,
Stitch
and that terrified us. We had to leave.
He's a blue koala bear.
But we eventually got Lilo and Stitch on DVD when it came out, and I've still got that DVD actually, but I used to just watch it all the time because I loved it so much.
Oh, it's so cute.
And I hadn't seen it since I was probably like 10-ish. Like I remember I watched all the sequels when they came out, and the last one was like 2006, I think, and it must have been around about then the last time I watched the first Lilo and Stitch. And rewatching it, I couldn't believe how incredible it actually is. Like this is like you said, this is one of my favorite Disney movies now. It's just so great.
It starts off with like this super sick scene where Stitch like breaks out of prison.
Yeah, I like that.
Epic. And it like establishes the stakes. It's like, oh, this dude is insane. He's crazy. He's like spitting on people. He's saying this weird alien language, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's so naughty.
Like,
and then he has to like escape, and it's just this like really elaborate like thing. It's just this little like blue koala bear thing, just like destroying everything, and then he escapes, and you're like, whoa! And then it goes into this great song, and then like the fish come on screen, and you're introduced to like Hawaii and I think Lilo as a character, and it's just such a fantastic transition. And especially I like all like the parallels that are drawn between her and Stitch. Like, oh, Stitch bites like that guy Gantu, and he's like, oh, does this look infected to you? And then back on Hawaii, Lilo bites Myrtle, who's the bully, and then Myrtle says, does this look infected? And I'm like, whoa, look at these parallels. It's like they're drawn to each other. They're kind of made for each other.
Don't you think it's kind of funny how in the first like 10 minutes of this movie alone, more is established than in the whole of Chaos Walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
there's the introductions and setups to these characters are great. I especially love how they introduce Lilo and just like, it's very basic. Like they show her obviously swimming with the fish. She feeds one a peanut butter sandwich. She comes into the dance thing, and like in a very short period of time, you're kind of introduced to who she is as a character, her personality, all this stuff, and it does it in such a does it so quickly, but in such an effective way where you completely get the character. There's never a point where you don't understand the character or anything like that. I think it's really impressive how they do it.
Yeah, she's like getting bullied by these kids, and she's like, they're my friends. So you kind of understand that she's like quite a lonely character. I think that she can only find like people through, just like she's surrounded by people who don't really like her, and then like her only real friends are like people who she can't, like her sister Nani, who has to like work, and she's not always there. I just love their dynamic as well, Nani and Lilo. I think they like a real like powerful Disney duo. I think one of the standouts for me. But then Stitch also doesn't have any friends, so he's going to go into the ship. He's going to crash onto the, there was that really funny scene where like Stitch is going through Earth's atmosphere, and then Lilo sees it, thinks it's a shooting star. She like pushes Nani out of the room, and then prays for God to like send her an angel. And then it's like smash cuts to Stitch doing this like maniacal laugh as he like creeps out of the hole with like this green glowing light, and he's just like cackling. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is great. The film is so funny. Like I don't actually remember it being quite as funny as this. I swear with like a lot of kids' films that you probably found funny as a kid, a lot of the time you rewatch them as an adult and you're like, this is so cringy. But this is like, has some genuinely really great, well-timed
really
comedy.
It's so good. There's like that part where Lilo gets Stitch from the dog pound, and like she brings him home, and then he's just like being a menace, and then Nani's like kicking him away, and then Lilo says like, be careful with the little angel, and then Stitch just like bites his legs and then turns into a ball and then starts rolling around.
I also love all the bits with like Lilo where she like, especially early on, where she's like being a massive diva and like listening to Elvis like, just
like
lying
on the
down.
Ground.
It's just
She's so
funny.
melodramatic.
Just leave me here to die.
Yeah.
It's like my favourite thing.
Yeah, great use of Elvis Presley in this movie. This is like, obviously, I mean, this is known for its like Presley presence, I guess, and Lilo loves Elvis Presley, and she tries to teach Stitch to be like a model citizen through like the teachings of Elvis Presley and his music. I love all that, like that whole montage where like she's trying to make him good, so he's like putting on these shows, and like they have to follow Nani around because she's doing job applications. It's really funny.
Yeah, I love that bit. This film got me into Elvis when I was a kid, and I remember listening to Elvis all the time afterwards. It's like a big part of like kind of me getting into music properly. So I have this film to thank for that.
Aww.
Yeah, it's some fantastic music, honestly.
Yeah.
There's that great gag where like Lilo wakes Nanny up, and then she's like, "Watch this," and like she's got a vinyl on a vinyl record on the player, and then she like puts Stitch's fingernail on the vinyl, and then opens his mouth, and then the music starts to play. That's absolutely genius.
I love that bit. That bit is so great.
I also love all the Hawaiian music in the film and like the score and stuff. All of that stuff is really great also.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri does it again.
Yeah, did a great job with this movie.
I think there's a lot to do with like Hawaii as like a concept in this movie. I think there's a lot of focus on like finding your own family and like family as a whole, and then making one of your own. And I feel like in the background there's like all these tourists that come in, and I think that's like a big problem that Hawaii kind of had, or like still maybe is having, where like they're not treated properly, or like tourists just come and they come to see the sights, and then like Stitch does a little dance or whatever, and they like start crowding around him and start taking pictures, and he goes insane. He starts like, and then like the beach has to be deserted because he's gone crazy. But it's like you came up to him and you ruined what he was doing, and that's like it's just a big part of this movie, I think. And like every opportunity, they just like ruin a tourist day. I really love that.
Yeah. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg should have watched this film before he tried to kick all those Hawaiian people off that island.
He should have known.
I actually have no idea what that meant.
Oh, you don't know? Oh, well, Mark Zuckerberg, he was like trying to buy like he was trying to make a load of mansions on this like plot in Hawaii, but to do it, he had to kick a load of native people off of their land, and but he still went ahead and did it anyway.
Oh,
and there was like that infamous picture of him surfing on the Hawaiian beaches with like his face is completely white.
Oh man, he's such a great guy. Such a great role model.
I love all the character designs in the film. I feel like everyone just has a very distinct personality-filled look, especially like all of the aliens. Like they all look very, very unique, and you can tell so much about who they are just from how they look.
Yeah, you got Stitch, who's obviously the OG, who's awesome. Such a fantastic design. We were talking about like Yoda as a design in the last episode. I just think when you get like a really good design, or like you get like really good artists to like map out these different characters, those are the things that stay in people's minds. And this movie, so much about it is so memorable. All these different like voice actors going in, just like making the characters their own. Like Ving Rhames is a Cobra Bubbles. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think he's got like this really great low baritone voice. He's always showing up when they don't want him to.
Yeah, he's great. You can also tell from like the character Pleakley exactly what sort of character he's going to be just from looking at him, like this huge, tall, scrawny thing.
No, Pleakley's called Wendy, right? I thought Pleakley was a
yeah, but that wasn't in the first film.
It just went really quiet. I was like, I'm just reading up on the second film, to be honest with you guys, because
what, Stitch or Lilo and Stitch 2?
Lilo and Stitch 2. Only because I didn't actually watch it.
Well, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, no, it's because I might have to introduce it, so I was just looking at what it actually was about.
Fair enough.
Crack on.
But he's like, I thought he might be like annoying, but he kind of wasn't. I quite liked him. He was like, no, you can't like shoot the people. They're what the mosquitoes feed on. We have to protect the mosquitoes.
They're endangered
That's like his only
species.
reason for being there.
Yeah. And I love when Cobra Bubbles at the end says that he taught the aliens that came down the mosquitoes were an endangered species.
Yeah.
Absolute hero. I like the fact that his name's Bubbles.
Yeah.
I think Lilo is honestly one of the best like child characters in any film.
She's so cute.
It's not just that, but she like feels like a real child. Like the way she talks and acts, that's like exactly how a real child acts, which I feel like you don't really get a lot in films.
Yeah. She's like throwing tantrums. Like she bickers with Nanny, and like Nanny bickers back. think there's like this whole thing about them losing their parents. All they have is each other. And I think it's a very realistic dynamic between the two, where like it's not like Nani's her mother. She's not Lilo's mother, but in some ways she kind of has to be. She has to fill that parental role because she's so much older, and she has to like get a job and do all these things that really she shouldn't have to, but because of their circumstances, she does. I just think, really fantastic dynamic between those two. They have some of like the funnier moments. I think there's like with the part where like she's trying to like restrain Lilo, and Lilo just like licks her arm. It's very like
that's such a like, such a childish thing to do.
Like I used to do that when I was a kid. You just do like stupid shit like that just to get out of being restrained. Yeah, it's great. Or like she like when she sees the falling star, she like pushes Nani out and like slams the door in her head. Or like Nani's trying to be like, oh, the gravity, it's pushing me down. And Lilo's like, no, it's not. Stop being like this.
Yeah, I feel like they're also like some of the most realistic like sibling characters in a film as well. Like I can't think of many like siblings that act exactly how they act in real life.
Yeah, it's got to be written by people who know what it's like to grow up with siblings and to have that kind of rivalry, but also understand that it only goes so deep because obviously they do love each other a whole lot. And then there's like the sad parts. The sad parts, I think, are like when Stitch leaves. And I was like, oh no, because he's like so destructive and like he just doesn't belong there. And you get this feeling that these two are so made for each other, but maybe they're very similar. Maybe this is a kind of like opposites attract kind of thing, but they are so similar that they do come to blows a lot. And there is that like horrible sad part where like Stitch leaves and he takes the ugly duckling book, which he kind of like sees himself as. He's like this ugly duckling who doesn't have a home. He doesn't have like everybody makes fun of him, and then nobody likes him. He doesn't have friends. So he goes out, he brings his book, he goes out into the rain, and he opens the book up, and then there's a page on the book that says that the ugly duckling goes, "I'm lost," and then Stitch says, "I'm lost." I was like, oh, no!
So sad.
That was the saddest part of the movie.
It is a very emotionally charged movie, which I feel like the best Disney movies are.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just like, oh, I'm lost in terms of I went out into the forest and now I can't find where I'm supposed to go. It's like, I'm lost, like I'm on this foreign planet, I don't know anyone, I was just like born like yesterday, I have absolutely nothing. I'm lost, I have nothing. And that's also like a thing that's kind of mirrored in Lilo, where she feels the same way, and yeah, she has Nani, but maybe in like a few days she won't, because she might be taken away because Nani doesn't have a job and like the house keeps blowing up.
Yeah. So apparently this movie, they made it on a lower budget than a lot of the other Disney movies at the time, because this came out in this period of time. It was after the big 90s renaissance where their films were like just massive box office failures. So they intentionally made this on a far lower budget than anything else. But despite that, I think this has some of the best looking animation in any Disney movie. Like it just all looks incredible. Like I love the usage of like the watercolor painted backgrounds and like the way the characters blend into them. There's also quite a lot of blending of like 3D and 2D animation, all of which is completely seamless. Like the whole film, like animation wise, just looks beautiful.
It mixes well, for sure. You feel like maybe sometimes in other movies, if you like paint a background, you could feel like that's separate from what's going on in the foreground, or like you can tell. And so yeah, you can tell like in this movie even there's like a part where like Nani's searching for Lilo in a house, and she's like hiding behind this pizza box, and you can tell that's where she's hiding, because like the rest of it looks like very like watercolor, or like it looks more like painted and this one looks like hard animation. So like you can tell that's where she is because that's the thing. That's the layer that needs to move with the animation. But for the most part, I think it's pretty seamless. And like I don't even mind that, honestly.
No, you got that with like a lot of the classic Disney movies. So for me, it just kind of feels reminiscent of that, like the like really, really old ones from like the 30s and 40s.
Yeah. Back when Disney was still good.
Yeah. And apparently,
I don't even know like what movies I've actually liked from Disney in the past few years.
No. Yeah, apparently, this is one of only 2 films that the Disney Animation Studios released in the 2000s that was like critically acclaimed and actually like made its money back.
Yeah. Oh, when did Treasure Planet come out?
The same year as this, but it was like a massive failure and critics were quite mixed on it.
That movie's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it's like this and Princess and the Frog were the only like actual successful films from that decade.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
So good.
I like that when Lilo tries to get Stitch back after it's like right at the end and the aliens are trying to take Stitch back because he's a menace and they have to put him in jail. Lilo's like, I adopted him for $2, so I own him and you have to give him back, otherwise you're stealing. And it works.
Yeah.
It's genius.
There's a lot of great like gags like that. A lot of cool stuff like that. There's like the part where Lilo has to draw like an outline of Stitch on a piece of paper and she's like, this is your badness level. She just like coloured in a bunch of red.
Yeah, there's like next to no white left.
Now I have to teach you how to be good through the power of Elvis.
Yeah. I love the setting of the film, like not just it being in Hawaii, which obviously is great, but it also is like it clearly takes a lot of influence from like the 1950s, like especially that big like Roswell alien sort of scare they had there, like a lot of the usage of like Elvis throughout and like the technology that they have in their house, as well as like the films that they watch, like how they watch like old 50s monster movies. It seems that they're very indebted to that time and it comes together really, really well while still feeling modern and not feeling dated at all.
Yeah, do they ever like specify what like period this film's in?
Only in the sequels.
Did I miss that? What year is what oh, I don't know. What year are they meant to be in?
In the sequels they make it seem that it's modern time.
Yeah, it feels like it's modern day, honestly.
Yeah.
They got like cars, but not like anything like super.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't
got like an
like
Apple
a 50s
store.
time, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's just like this kind of rural type of area where everybody knows each other. Because Hawaii is so small, there's like that part where Stitch tries to like get off of Hawaii, but he can't go in the water, so he's just like cycling on this tricycle to like all the edges of Hawaii, but it's just this island that he can't get off of.
Yeah.
Poor Stitch.
I also love all the voice acting. I think everyone does a great job, especially Chris Sanders, who's one of the directors of the film. He did the voice of Stitch because he created Stitch as a character in like the 80s. He originally wanted to make this children's book, but the pitch was unsuccessful and he like just stuck with this character of Stitch for like almost 20 years. And he plays the character really, really well.
I'm a big fan that he's managed to get it done into Lilo and Stitch because Stitch is so cute. I don't know, it's like one of those ideas that you kind of, there are bigger things for it. I don't think it would have done as well in the children's book, but that's just me. I'm always ragging on like children's illustrations.
The thing is, you can really tell that this is a passion project. Like I've seen so many like of the Walt Disney animated classics, as they call them, that have just felt so lifeless and like passionless and without any like love or care put into it, like especially in this period where you had like Home on the Range and Chicken Little and that sort of shit.
Chicken Little,
you could tell it was literally just like this manufactured shit that no one cared about, whereas this film, it really feels like they're putting like everything they have into it. They're putting like so much care and love and attention into it, and that's what I love about the very early Disney movies and like the Disney Renaissance movies as well.
Yeah, Yeah, it does feel like a passion project, and I think that's what Disney needs. Like, especially now, they need someone with like a voice to say, "I had this idea," and then they like make that idea, I guess. And you know, Stitch he's honestly he is super cute. He's an amazing character with amazing design, and just every time he's on screen, it's like there's never a dull moment really, because he's always doing something. He's always up to mischief, or he's doing some sort of gag, and I do like a lot of those older Disney movies where like with just like painstaking animation. They just draw every frame. This is still probably. I really like I know how I like said it a few times, but I really like that Alice in Wonderland movie from 1951. That's so good, and I just feel like there's like these different periods of Disney where like maybe you get a handful of like fantastic ones, but nowadays I really don't feel like there are any that measure up to those early ones. I just don't know if we're going to see it again.
No, I would probably go as far as to say this is their last great movie. Like, they've definitely made good movies since this. Like, I liked Frozen, I liked Wreck-It Ralph.
I didn't.
There's probably some others that aren't coming to mind that I did enjoy, but there's not been any like under their animated classics line, like from the main animation studios, that I've thought is really great since this.
Yeah, it's all like Pixar. I'm just like going through it. Well, they have really. Frozen. I didn't really like Frozen. I didn't see Moana, but apparently that was good.
Yeah,
I think people like that. Tangled. I just forget about all these movies.
I liked Tangled. That film we talked about already.
Yeah, we talked about it. They did that new Mulan movie.
Yeah, I just don't think they really have any passion anymore. I do think they need to get... Yeah. I do think they need to get like a good creative team who are really passionate about the projects they're making. Like, maybe bring back these directors, because they got rid of them and they went to DreamWorks. Like, Chris Sanders made the first How to Train Your Dragon and The Croods, and Dean DeBloy did the first How to Train Your Dragon with him and then directed both sequels. Like, maybe bring them back, because they clearly have a lot of care for what they make, because those How to Train Your Dragon movies are fantastic.
They really are. Every time I tell people that, they're like, no. I'm like, why don't you watch them? Like, don't need to.
Yeah.
Because I feel like just animation as a kind of medium gets a bad rap. I think people feel like it's for children, and it's not. And this movie, yeah, it's a kids movie, but you know, adults can enjoy it as well. I mean, I loved it.
We all did.
There's no excuse for it. I feel like there's no excuse for like saying like, oh, you know what, animation is just for kids. That's not true at all. And Disney, I feel that they feel like that nowadays. Like, oh, animation is just for kids, and they make their animated movies for kids, and that's why we're seeing like this kind of decline where I feel like they're not making family movies, they're making baby movies.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame. I feel like we've had this conversation on the podcast so many times.
Yeah, and I'll have it a million more times until
we're all very, very passionate about animation. It's just a shame to see it not be treated the same way that live action's being treated, especially by Disney at the moment.
Yeah, I saw Wolfwalkers the other month. You know who else was in that theatre with me? Like, no one. One family with like a child there, and that's it. And nobody saw that movie, and it was brilliant.
To be honest, I feel like that was more down to do the fact that it was not marketed at all.
No, it wasn't. Not at all. But then, like, I don't know, what great animated movies have we seen lately? None from Disney.
Yeah. Like, I think Soul's the only one in the last couple of years I really liked.
I just don't think these...
At least from a big major studio, because there's like things like I Lost My Body and Wolfwalkers from smaller studios that are fantastic movies.
You just talk about cartoon films in general.
Yeah, just animated movies.
Just animated. Yeah, I Lost My Body was fantastic. I really like that movie. Okay. Do you want to go on to the ratings?
Yeah. What are we going to rate this one out of?
Do it out of please.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah. I love this movie so much. I was really happy to finally rewatch it because it's been so long. But this is a film I hold very close to me because I just adored it as a kid growing up. It's definitely one of my favorite Disney movies. It like shot up into like my top 50 favorite films. I just love it so much. Gonna give it 10 Pleakleys out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, and I even saw it a few months back, so I knew that I was gonna love it, and I told you guys this movie's gonna be amazing. And lo and behold, it was. I would probably watch it again, like even very soon. Honestly, I really do love it that much. It's such an easy, like, watch for me. Put it on any time. It's a great movie for kids, and it's a great movie for adults too, especially people like me and like us who grew up with watching this movie. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Disney. You did it a bit back in the day.
20 years ago.
Yeah. 10 Pleakleys out of 10.
You finally did it.
It does really upset me that this film came out 19 years ago.
We're old.
Oh, wow. That actually hit me straight in there.
Darcy just died inside.
Straight. I mean, shit. Yeah, no, I think it's just a testament to how old I'm getting as well. But, yeah, it's another one of those things where it's like when we watched the High School Musical trilogy. And, part of it was like, oh, you think you're going to like it for, like, nostalgic reasons, but you don't. It's just a genuinely, like, great experience. I actually probably would watch it again soon. I mean, I don't know how soon, but...
Right now.
Right this second, we're going to turn off the podcast and watch Lilo and Stitch.
Avoid talking about the sequels just so we can watch the first one again.
Right. We should have just watched the first one 4 times. But, and also... No, I loved it. It was such a cute, like, wholesome film. Like, I feel like if you were really sad, this would be the film to just, like, cheer you up again.
Oh, yeah.
I'd give it, like, a 9 Wendy Pleakleys out of 10. Actually, for fuck's sake. I keep forgetting what I'm doing, like, halfway through my sentences.
That's all right. We've all been there.
Every day, Max, every day.
But what I would not watch every day is this next movie called Stitch the Movie. A movie about Stitch.
It is about Stitch.
What happens in this movie?
Can you tell me?
I've forgotten. I don't remember what happened in this movie.
Oh,
okay. Apparently, it's been several years since Stitch landed on Earth and made friends with Lilo. And
pretty impressive considering she hasn't aged a day.
Yeah. But their lives are turned upside down by the arrival of Captain Gantu, who kidnaps Jumba to find out the location of his other 625 experiments. They
How
have
many?
to save him. 625. So he's 626. And there's the electric one and
the sandwich one.
And the sandwich one.
Excuse me, sandwich one has a name.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, 625.
Doesn't have a name till the last one.
So, yeah, he's 625. Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
And it came out in
Max.
2003, so it's
It
like
did.
the next year. Next year they made this movie, and they're like, "This'll do something." It was directed by Tony Craig and Robert Ganaway.
Go on, Max, say it. What
I
you
think
thinking?
like the whole plot of this movie is like Stitch wants like family and cousins, and I'm like, wasn't that the plot of the first movie? You wanted a family, and then you got a family, and you realise that family is the family that you make, and not the. Okay, this movie is not good.
No.
I do not like this movie, not one bit.
It's the pilot to the TV show.
It was boring.
It sets up the events of the TV show.
Just gonna.
And honestly, it could have been a 20-minute episode of the TV show.
It could have been.
It's an hour long, and it actually could have been shorter. It's literally 60 minutes exactly. And it could have been half the length.
Can we just talk about like it was an hour, but it felt like 7.
Yeah. I think out of all the films we watched, this felt the longest.
It really did. And it was the shortest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It moves at a snail's pace.
It does.
We were like, check the time here. We were like, we're only 15 minutes into this.
The problem is there's no plot. It's just like a bunch of shit that happens.
Nothing happens. And what makes it even worse is like immediately the animation is worse. So we just got this huge downgrade where like it just looks janky and like the mouth movements don't match the dialogue and it just feels so much stiffer. It's honestly, it was like horrible to look at even.
Bleakley's pupil is floating out of his eyeball.
Yeah. Oh god. It's like a little button on his eyeball. Yeah.
The thing is, I feel like they do they remain with the like watercolor backgrounds, and they look all right. They don't look as good as they did in the first film, but they look fine. But the characters look terrible, and they don't blend into it at all. And their outlines also look really weird
and jaggy,
and like there's bits in the film where there's actually like things in the shot that are pixelated.
Oh my god! Like only on features that they can use are like emphasized. So like they'll have like the painting of a door, but the doorknob will be like a completely different texture. So
yeah, and there was one bit where like there was like a door and a window, and the window was actually like a pixelated picture.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looked awful. You can really tell that this was not made to be watched in HD.
It's so bad.
No, it was made for like box TVs.
Yeah. I had it on DVD when it came out, and I remembered a tiny, tiny bit about it. I mostly remembered there's a bit at the beginning where they're on the beach and Stitch is hiding and he jumps out in a costume and he like just makes a sound. And I don't know why, but I had vivid like memory of that bit exactly. Yeah. And like apart from that, the only other bit I remembered was them throwing the experiments all throughout Hawaii.
Yeah, they think
all
that
of
making
them landing
Stitch
on
saying,
dry.
Yeah, they think making Stitch say all these like alien words every so often is like cute, but it's not. It was cute in the first movie, but now it's just like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Tony and Roberts. I understand. I mean, it's a movie for babies. I get it, but it's like you couldn't have tried a little bit. But I don't even like really expect it. I'm not even angry with the movie. I don't even care. I just don't care because it's not a movie made for me, and it's not a movie made for anyone really, apart from just kids who can watch colours, and then their parents can just go, "I'm gonna do some like cooking or something."
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think it really counts as a film because it does feel like a episode of a TV show.
I don't know why they decided to make that into a movie. I don't understand why they couldn't have just like made it a 1 hour pilot episode and just been
just
done
like a
with
1
it.
hour special of they
why?
don't even have to make it that long, just make it like just a normal episode, like 30 minutes.
It really dragged on as well. Like they could have easily cut that down and it would have been fine.
I remember when the film started, I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. Like I felt like some of the comedy, none of it was funny, but I didn't think it was like
bad.
Cringy, like painfully bad. And then as the film went on and on and on, like I just got so bored and it just became unbearable to watch.
I actually don't remember anything that happened apart from like the beginning and the end. I don't remember anything that happened in between.
If I didn't have my notes, I would not remember a thing.
See, I should start making notes.
I remember there was like some action sequences for some reason, and like anytime Stitch like moved fast, like they blurred him to cut down on the amount of frames they had to animate.
Is that what?
Because why try?
Yeah. It's for a kids show.
Yeah, just don't.
It's got a small budget, has to be done in a small amount of time.
Just
of course, they're not gonna.
Just don't make it. The decision is, the decision is easy. Just don't make it. It didn't need to be done.
They had to. They needed the money. This is Disney.
They need the money, do they?
They did back then, to be fair. They were actually really struggling in the 2000s.
Oh man, to be fair,
I don't feel stupid like talking about it. I feel stupid talking about it. I'm like, it doesn't really even deserve my time because they know.
No,
but everybody knows what this is. You know what it is. I know what it is. Why are we talking about it? Really, I don't really care about it. It's just like nobody's watched this movie in, I don't know, 20 years.
I don't know, because we spun a wheel and apparently we now
now we have to watch
people.
it. In this,
yeah,
dug this grave ourselves.
Yeah,
exactly. No one else. No one on this, everyone on this podcast, if they were listening, they've definitely dipped out now. They've gone, I didn't watch that. I'm out.
Yeah, something I noticed. You know, anytime like Stitch's arms grow out and like his antennas like pop out of his head. In the first film, there would be like a sound, like a weird, like horrible sounding growth sound, like you'd expect. Yeah, exactly like that. That didn't happen in this film. Like his arms just popped out and there was nothing.
Yeah, didn't even make a noise, did it?
Yeah. It's like
couldn't afford the sound.
But like, surely you could literally have just taken the audio clip from the original movie and just spliced it in. It's taken like 10 seconds work.
They got to like load up another project. No problem. No point.
Yeah, they actually have to get clips.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it.
You can also tell the voice actors just don't care anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of them are really good. Pleakley is fucking annoying as hell in this film. I hated him so much. I don't think he was really that annoying in the first film, but the rest of them, I couldn't stand him. Especially the next one, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Oh.
I don't even remember him.
He was just annoying.
What, in the Stitch film? No, I don't really either. But then there was so much to forget about the Stitch film that there's not a lot
like
to
a part
remember.
At the beginning where like Stitch gets a chainsaw and he starts chainsawing things at the beach, and David's like, "Hey, that's my chainsaw." But it's like, why'd you bring a chainsaw to the beach?
Oh yeah, that was weird. And like all the animation looks really like it's a bit lazy. Like when he's cutting through all these like pineapples and watermelons, and it's just literally like a green circle with a splodge of red inside. Like, didn't even bother to animate seeds. I was like, brilliant.
I've got like a bit of trivia here where apparently they said like the reason for the film was because they wanted like something to come out in between Lilo and Stitch in the series. There would like the whole existence of it was not to focus on the experiments, but it was to like focus heavily on Stitch and like develop him as a character. But I don't remember it doing that at all. They don't do anything with him in this film. He's barely in it.
He was only in it to remind the kids that Lilo and Stitch existed so that they would watch the TV show. That is the only purpose this thing serves. And it doesn't, because I forgot it.
Yep.
That's it. That's literally it.
Should we go on to ratings?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, all three of the sequels were barely going to have anything to say about.
Yeah, because they're all naff. Right. What did I even rate it? I don't even know. I'm going to have to go back. Actually, no, I do
What are we
remember.
going to rate it out of?
Don't know, 625s.
Cool. 625s it is.
625s.
The sandwich one.
The sandwich one. Who eventually got a name.
I like his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, this film sucks. 2 625s out of 10. I don't have anything else to add to it.
Yeah. Not good. 2 625s out of 10.
2 625s out of 10.
We're just bolting to get away from this
Rattled
movie.
through that.
Like no commentary from me, boys.
Oh, what's the third one?
Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch has a glitch.
Oh, go on then.
Do you know what? I'm not introducing this because I didn't actually watch all of this.
Yeah. Do you want me to introduce
Go
it?
ahead.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so this film is set in between Lilo and Stitch and Stitch the movie. So technically it's a prequel. It's a direct sequel to the first movie, in which everything's going well, everything's going happy, but there's a malfunction in Stitch where he basically Jumba didn't fully charge his molecules when he was being made because he got interrupted, and because of that his molecules are slowly depleting, and because of that he keeps freaking out. He keeps going bad, he's glitching out, and at the same time him and Lilo trying to make a hula dance for this big competition, but because of his destructive behavior it keeps getting in between their friendship. That's kind of what the movie's about. And Jumba's trying to save him, their friendship. And I guess that's the film.
Sounds good. How was it?
It was better than that last one, but I still didn't really like it.
I thought it was okay.
I probably watched like the first half an hour of it or so. I don't really know.
You watched the majority of it. I felt like you watched like the first 45 minutes.
It didn't feel like it. I felt like nothing happened. Maybe I just wasn't paying any attention.
I don't know. I know after you left, there was like a period where Disney Plus kept crashing for like 10 minutes. We couldn't actually carry on watching the movie.
I was actually
shutting it down.
I was actually hotspotting from my mobile phone the whole time. I don't know whether it was like...
Yeah, I think the internet must have been playing it.
It was having a glitch.
Yeah.
Everything is connected, Max.
Yeah, I just found this to be quite boring. I don't really remember it even. There's like a whole subplot where like David is trying to get a date with Nani, but like aren't they together? I don't know.
They've been dating for 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've been dating for 3 weeks, and Pleakley's like, the spark is gone because she keeps cancelling on him because her life is super busy and she doesn't really have time to go out on a date. So Pleakley is like, listen, what we're going to do here is I'm going to dress up as these girls and we're going to make her jealous. And they keep hanging out, and Pleakley's like dressed up as a woman, pretending to be someone else, like getting all over him.
He's quite distinctive,
unbearable.
Though. She's like, I know it's you because
Nani
you have
saw
one
through it
eye.
both times.
Like,
those scenes were so unbearable. I hated them so much.
They didn't need to be in the movie.
No, they added
pointless.
Nothing to the plot. They were just there for like comic relief, and they weren't funny. Could have been an episode of the TV show. Like that could have been a subplot in an episode.
Yeah. You like how Stitch is having these glitches, and then Lilo's getting progressively more upset with him because he just keeps going bad, but Jumba, he's trying to figure out what to do, but he never tells Lilo that it's not his fault.
Yeah, I did think that was a bit weird.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
I just found it stupid. I don't know.
For me, the only thing I really liked about the film and what kind of made it somewhat enjoyable for me was I did actually like that there was a bit more heart in this movie. Like how you've got Lilo wanting to do this hula dance to kind of reminisce her mother, who was also a hula dancer, and she just wants to like do something incredible to really make her proud. That stuff I actually thought was like really sweet, and I liked all the stuff with Lilo and Stitch and their friendship, and like the guilt that Stitch was feeling because he was turning bad and he wasn't sure why. That stuff like made the film somewhat interesting and enjoyable for me. It was everything surrounding that I didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't mind all that stuff, but I still thought it was quite unnecessary, and I just thought they kind of pulled this plot thread out of their ass. Just like, Stitch's molecules weren't charged, so now we're going to make a third movie about how his molecules weren't charged. Okay. Oh, God. What's the point?
And like,
there were like a couple of moments where like there's like a part where Myrtle says that Lilo will never be like you'll never be like your mother, Lilo, and then like Stitch, Lilo's already trying to like hurt her, and then Stitch is trying to restrain her, and then like she says that, and he's like, okay. And he just like lets her go ham on her and like starts taking pictures of them fighting. That was actually funny.
Yeah. There's quite a few montages in this film for some reason. Like there's a montage of Lilo and Stitch going around Hawaii, like going to all these places that Elvis had been to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one that I actually did find quite funny where Stitch, like, because he keeps going bad and he's got that bit of paper with his good bad meter and he's like constantly drawing it in. He's like, I want to fix this, I want to be good again. So there's this montage of him doing all these good things for people. That bit I actually found quite funny.
Yeah, that was all right. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a bit in it where he like helps an old woman cross the road, and he like runs into a supermarket and grabs her and starts trying to drag her across the road. That bit actually got to me.
Yeah. They try to make us believe Stitch is dead. Also,
they killed
that part of the end where they're like, Stitch died. He's like,
how did he
riding through the
actually
air.
die?
Well,
his
he's like riding
molecules
through the
ran
air.
out.
Oh,
Yeah, his molecules ran
okay.
out. after he's gotten like this big like,
even though they had
crash
started
from
the
a spaceship.
process, like he had like on the meter his molecules were like there was like 2 bars, and she started like pulling it down, and then he just died, and Jumba's like, it's too late. It's like, what the fuck?
I've
Like,
got to get him into
succeeded.
the pod. I got to get him into the life pod.
Yeah,
which is like conveniently in the ship that Stitch was driving when he crashed, and like just happened to be on the edge of this cliff where they climbed up, and they were like, "Oh, it's here, right next to where we climbed up from the cliff, and it didn't get destroyed or damaged at all. We can just use it." So, oh god, was like, "I've got to put you in the pod, Stitch, to make you good and healthy." And then he dies, and then you're like, they're like hugging him, like, "No, Stitch is dead." And they're like crying. I'm like, this is stupid. This is so lame.
It was like meant to be this big emotional bit, but Max just burst out laughing.
It sounds so ridiculous.
It was
to be
funny.
Fair.
It was really funny.
It was so stupid. I don't get it really.
Yeah. Something I also liked about the movie is I did think the animation was massively better to the other 2 sequels. I still don't think the animation is great. Like, obviously, it's nowhere near as good as the first movie, but I do think it's like a big improvement.
Yeah, it was better than the last, at least. I'll give it that. But that's about where my compliments end, I think.
I like the
I like the music when Stitch dies, but it only lasts for about 10 seconds.
Do you want to go to ratings?
Yeah, God, yeah. Yeah.
We're just blasting through these movies, but there's nothing to say.
Well, they're really short and nothing happens, so what do you expect? Do it out of, what happens in this movie? I don't know.
Do it out of glitches.
Glitches, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fine movie. I didn't think it was that bad. In terms of Disney sequels, I've seen far worse. I'm not sure if I've even seen better, to be fair, because they're quite shit, most of them. I think I originally rated it as like a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but the more I think about it, I don't really remember it, so I'm not sure I can really justify it giving it that higher rating. So probably give it like a 5 out of 10. So, or 5 glitches out of 10. Like I still think it's fine. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to showing this to my children, like I would be Stitch and
I would
Leroy.
definitely be opposed to that.
It's just like a fun little kids movie.
No. Opposed.
Nothing harmful about
Opposed.
No, you didn't see it, Darcy. You don't get a say.
Do you know what? I know I don't, but oppose all the same.
Yeah. I don't even remember it really. Just I remember him going in the pod, and then he died, and then he was okay again because his molecules were recharged. Brilliant movie. 3 glitches out of 10.
There you go. Darcy, do you want to introduce Leroy?
Leroy and
Go ahead.
Stitch. Okay.
I have 3 notes for this film, so I don't know what we're going to say.
This was supposed to be based after the TV show, right?
Yes, this is like the finale for the show.
So basically, I think the premise of that is that they've caught all the experiments that they had set free onto the island, because apparently all of them only fell into one area of the Earth, and it was all in Hawaii. But that's another story.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
They were in space
for another day.
In space, and they threw them into the planet and out of the window from a spaceship, and
they all fell to Hawaii.
They all landed on Hawaii.
All of them, every single one of them.
Not even in the sea.
Exactly. And
anyway, go ahead.
And so the premise is that they've caught all the experiments again, and they're offered positions in like the Galactic Alliance, but they basically all have a miserable time or something because Stitch has to leave because he's
they're bored.
a captain of this ship, and
they're bored of being on Hawaii.
Yeah, they're bored of being in Hawaii, and they don't want to tell Lilo because she looks so sad and innocent. Anyway, and then so Stitch goes and becomes a captain of the ship. and the hamster. Do you know what was the hamster called? Does anyone know? The hamster rabbit. Hamsterville escapes from prison and forces Jumbo to make a evil Stitch, which is called Leroy, and essentially is just shit. Just shit.
So excited to see Leroy in action.
How long did we
was I
wait?
disappointed?
31 minutes it was until Leroy appeared.
Yeah, but when he appeared, oh boy,
fucking sucked.
Yeah, this bit was bad.
Leroy was terrible.
Leroy was just a red Stitch, okay?
He literally was just
crazier.
Red Stitch.
He was Red
like,
Stitch,
he
but
was
on
to
acid.
Stitch as Carnage is to Venom.
Yeah, and he was allergic to music.
He was allergic to me.
He was allergic to Elvis.
Yeah, do you not remember that? Because at the end, Stitch puts on this massive concert with all the other people who happen to be there, and then the Leroys start exploding.
Ah, right, Star Wars.
Because when Jumbo
musical.
was making Leroy, he put on Elvis in an attempt to have some sort of fail-safe. So he's like, I built him with a self-destruct sequence or something. Just play Elvis and he'll die. Or something. I don't know.
So when they actually did that musical performance, was it Elvis they were playing? I thought they were just playing one of their own Lilo and Stitch songs.
I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I asked you to, because who the fuck would remember that?
Yeah, maybe it wasn't Elvis. Oh, who cares?
Yeah, who cares about any of this? I'm sorry. This was honestly, if this goes down as our worst episode ever, I'm kind of okay with it.
No, because Lilo and Stitch is awesome.
Yeah, no, that film is absolutely amazing. But when you think about, we just tarnished this episode with just an awful sequel.
They're out there. The people have to know.
Everyone has to suffer.
This film is painfully unfunny.
It's not. Yeah. There was nothing to enjoy.
The jokes in Stitch were they weren't funny, but there was never a point where I cringed at a joke. They were just like, yeah, whatever. But this film, the jokes all missed super hard.
Was this the one with at least that one really funny joke about Myrtle's dad, or was that not in this film? That was in this film.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was this one.
I don't remember.
Oh, was it?
All I know is that joke was so funny that I actually cried.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. That was the one redeeming quality about it.
Literally, that was the one time that made any of us laugh. Every other time we were just dying.
She was making fun of Lilo, and she's like, "Once a weirdo, always a weirdo. That's what my dad used to say." And one of her friends is like, "I didn't know you had a dad." And and then Myrtle's like, "Your dog is never coming back." And then one of her friends says, "Just like Myrtle's dad."
It was literally the only part of the film that actually had us all laughing. It's so stupid.
And as quite the scientist myself, I did laugh at the physics of the black hole. They send them to the black hole to teleport them to another place. But that's not how black holes work.
Oh, what? They were chucking rocks at it and hoping for the best?
Yeah, they were the black hole's going to teleport us to a volcano planet. But that's not true. So they throw a rock into it. They're like, Earth rock, activate, and then the Earth rock goes into the black hole, and it stops it from teleporting to a volcano planet, and it makes them teleport to Earth because it's an Earth rock. I'm like, that black hole would kill you. It would spaghettify you, and you would be dead. That's not how black holes work. But this isn't how anything works. So whatever.
No.
True, we are talking about talking aliens and all sorts of shit here.
But what was epic was that Gantu finally got his redemption arc, eh?
Yeah. And there was a big endgame-esque fight between all the experiments.
Oh yeah, and a million Leroys.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That was epic.
They all used their different powers, which conveniently have been really well suited to Earth activity, even though they were made by aliens. There's not one alien that they couldn't find a job for. They've put Hawaii out of business. The immigrants have taken our jobs, but it's Hawaii.
They took our jobs.
One of them's a popcorn maker.
Oh,
Like,
I love
what?
that. I would honestly love having a popcorn maker alien.
You got popcorn in space, do you? You
Yeah.
wanted to make a creature just to create popcorn.
Yeah, but there's
So
a
weird.
creature that just makes sandwiches.
Yeah, but
Reuben.
Yeah, he
Say
finally gets
his
called
name.
Reuben.
Oh
in
yeah,
this
he
film.
got 625 got a name in this one because Lilo spends like some time with him, and she's like, "I'm gonna name you Reuben," and he's like, "That's epic." And now he can do what Stitch
That's
can do.
epic.
So he like lifts a bunch of like heavy stuff, and he's like, I'm everything that Stitch is, but fatter.
I
don't
can
know.
make sandwiches.
Yeah, I can make
Epic
Can
sandwiches.
Stitch make sandwiches? I don't think so. And
The
Stitch
thing
is
I
like,
dislike
wow, the BRB 9000 that he gets like this huge battleship. He's so excited about it, and it's they keep saying, "Oh, BRB, the BRB,
Yeah,
Great.
the big red battleship.
big red battleship."
You
Wow,
sunk my red battleship.
it's so Star
Yeah.
Trekky.
Yeah. I think the thing I dislike the most about this film is what I also dislike about Stitch is just that this film is just completely devoid of any care or love. It doesn't feel like anyone gave a shit about this movie at all. There's just no heart or emotion in there at all. And I'm not going to say that Lilo and Stitch 2 is just this like grand, epic, beautiful movie filled with care and attention, because it isn't. But at least that film, they tried to actually put some emotion and some heart in there, even if a lot of it was heavy-handed. This film, they don't care. It feels like it was just made because they could.
And they did.
Yeah.
Hamsterville was there. Hamsterville had like a French accent. He reminded me of like John Cleese as the Frenchman in Holy Grail.
Yeah, I
So-
thought the exact same thing anytime he spoke.
Well, that's that.
Woohoo!
This film's lame. It was the longest of the sequels, and it actually felt it.
Yep.
Although
I really
Stitch
want it to be
actually
over.
did kind of feel longer.
Stitch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is better than Stitch the movie because I remember
Just
at least a
about.
little bit about it. I don't remember Stitch the movie at all.
This is better literally just because of that dad joke. And also,
Yeah.
I guess the animation's slightly better. It's still not very good, but it's not quite as embarrassing as in Stitch the movie.
No. And Leroy was pretty epic.
Hell yeah. Well,
Oh,
obviously, we're
God.
going to rate this out of Leroy's.
Yeah, we got it.
Has to be. Yeah.
That red geezer.
That red geezer.
That red geezer.
Yeah. I don't even know what there is to say about this film. It's just so dull, devoid of anything. It's just not worth wasting your time. I give it 2 Leroys out of 10.
Yep. I watched it and Leroy was there. 2 Leroys out of 10.
2 Leroys out of 10.
That's that. We did it. The Lilo and Stitch marathon. And also Chaos Walking. It was a pretty great week. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It was a week.
Was a week. Whew. Now we've got the next one to do. What's next week's marathon?
Yeah, let's find out.
Let's find
I'm
out.
scared.
I hope it's... We're doing... Can we meet up next week? I don't think we can.
No.
No, so we're doing some movies that we can
What is
watch
it?
and be separate. Not like series.
No, so they're like genre movies, decades, that sort of thing I put on the list. So the first thing that's come up is summer camp movies.
Summer camp
Oh,
movies?
God, what the hell is that?
Can someone explain to me what half of
Films
these films are?
set at a summer
I
camp.
don't even know what that is. I don't even know what movies are set at a summer
Camp
camp.
Sleepaway
Sleepaway.
camp. Yeah, you got Friday the 13th. You've got Wet Hot
Friday the
American
13th 's a
Summer.
Wednesday.
You've got Those other
Moonrise
ones.
Kingdom.
Moonrise
count?
Kingdom. You've got that script I wrote. We can just review
Pretend
that.
that's a film. Camp Nirvana.
Do we want to pick something else?
Yeah, I don't like this one.
Okay.
Why on earth? Like, you guys made this list, so you guys.
I put that on.
Yeah, you guys need to have a word with yourselves, okay?
Chris put the bad ones on.
Next thing that's come up is French movies.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
You happy with French movies, Darcy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all pick a film each. I guess we could like go through each other's like DVD collection. Do we both have a list on Letterboxd of what we own?
Sure
What,
do.
French films?
Yeah. Yeah, just because like we can go through what Max has got and then maybe pick something from that, and then obviously look at what's on streaming and stuff.
We've got a couple of the old French movies.
Yeah.
And that'll be in episode 44 next week.
44.
But until then, we've also got Chappelle's Show to watch, season 1 of that, for episode 45. And we also have our social media accounts. YouTube is the Sunday Movie Marathon. And we also have Twitter, which is at Sunday Movie Pod. Facebook is at Sunday Movie Marathon. And Letterboxd is at Sunday MM, capital S, capital MM. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. This very cool episode of the Stitch Marathon, the Sunday Stitch Marathon. Catch you in the next one.
Yeah, Leroy forever.
Leroy forever. Leroy Movie Marathon forever.
How many hours do you want?